Welcome back to another episode of Unscripted Exchanges. You know what, Jimmy? I don't know if you hit the record button. Let's double check on that, would you?
Jimmy, hit the button, Jimmy. All right, Jimmy got it.
All right, we're good.
I swear.
We're back for another awesome episode. I mean, every episode is awesome, Cole, but these are the best ones, as I like to say, when it's just you and I shooting the shit and just talking about, whatever the hell we want to talk about.
Dude, we're not fucking around here. I think I'm gonna coin that. I'm gonna coin that.
I feel like someone else might have that trademark, but I could be wrong.
That's us.
Okay.
Unscripted. Hashtag unscripted exchanges.
Love it.
Dude, going viral. No, I appreciate Jimmy for getting the recording started.
Yeah, thanks, Jimmy.
Sorry, we had some mishaps today earlier. You guys are lucky you didn't hear us off air because we were ripping into him. Yeah, he's probably a little upset right now. But yeah, dude, the energy is high today. What did you think about our last episode? Let me ask you your thoughts. What's the word I'm looking for? Your very raw. Your raw. Like when we had that episode with my dad on. What was your raw reaction to that?
We had a big time guest on.
It kind of seemed like it.
That's the first thought. It was really cool to hear his background in terms of where he got to today and how he got there. I mean, he even caught himself a couple of times. I'm going to be a little critical because this is my raw thoughts.
Yeah.
He was like, I don't want to get too far into the weeds. And I think there's a couple of times where he was on the fence of getting into the weeds a little bit. But that's the thing. As the CEO, you got to know the ins and the outs. And I mean, he recognizes that, which is great because there are some people, me included, where it's like you're diving into the deep end and, again, know your audience. And some people might I don't really know if I care about that. But anyways, great episode. Loved having your dad on. It's remarkable what he's done. I mean, he changed the music industry.
You know what he said? That's really good catch there, loser. Yeah, that was good. That was really good. Tie that back into episode 50. Thank you very much. I like that. Oh man, you're on your feet today. I'll tell you what, man.
I am.
I don't know if it's you take some extra caffeine or it's probably all those supplements you've been taking. Man, it's firing on all cylinders. I thought was kind of funny after I had a conversation with him. My initial thoughts were thank the good Lord, he stayed on one track, he kind of told the story in this linear fashion, which I love my dad to death. We jump all over the place like you and I do when we talk. So I'm like, okay, well, let's see where this is going to go. I knew it was going to be awesome. And what it was funny is he goes to me, he goes, dude, some of that stuff I forgot I even did. He's like, it was so long ago.
Right.
And the cool part about talking with him afterwards is he got a lot out of it. He said to me, I've had so many people reaching out to me and saying I didn't know that about you, or I had no idea you did XYZ, and he's like, I forgot some of the cool stuff I've done. And he's like, to me, it felt like it clicked with him why we are doing this and the value of what we are doing, telling stories, engaging with people, having these conversations. I said,
letting others tell their stories too. Yeah.
I'm like, it's a documentary of what was going, right now we're looking at 2022. Where was Cole and where was my thought process at in March and if 2022, right? 20 years later, I can go back and go I wonder what was going on in my head. That's so neat. And he clung on to that. He thought that was unbelievable. So, I mean, my raw reaction was super proud of him for I mean, I was going to be proud either way, but I thought it was cool to see him texting me and calling me afterwards and be like, dude, I'm getting so much good feedback and I'm
He didn't fumble the bag.
No, he did not. He did a good job there.
Introduce yourself. No, he crushed it. Thanks again, Mr. Hazenfield, for coming on.
Thank you.
And doing episode number 50, man. Crazy that we're already that far along, man. And we get better each and every episode.
I feel like it.
Yeah.
I feel better each and every episode.
Oh, it's not only a feeling, it's a fact, man.
Dude, it's a vibe.
It is a vibe. That's what we're trying to create here. One other thing that I wanted to piggyback onto when you were mentioning, you get to look back 20 years from now and kind of see, what was going through my mind or where was I? And that same thought process has really resonated with me over the past 6 months or so too. And that's why you see me documenting all my fitness goals and stuff. I mean, look, there's a million people out there doing the same darn thing, but I'm focused on me. You know, that's going to come off to some as very narcissistic, but we all have a level of narcissism. But point being, like, I get to see, you know, where was I at the beginning of 2022 and where am I going to end up at the end of 2022? And then again, you know, a couple of years from now, I can really look back and see how my life has changed, the good, the bad, the ugly, and so on and so forth. So it's really cool to document. And it doesn't have to be fitness. It can be anything. It could be you riding your horses, Cole, or spending time with your family. I mean, there's certain things you probably don't want to put out there online, but it's just really cool to kind of have a digital copy and go through memory lane and also kind of critique your life to some extent too.
You can check yourself. I mean, right? Like, you can go, man, I was saying this shit and I didn't do any of it, or I was saying this stuff and I did some of it, right? It's almost like it is a digital journal. And I kind of like that you pointed out, this is a thought I've had recently. You're speaking about like narcissism, and I've given that, and I'll tell you why I've given that a lot of thought lately.
Are you calling me out? Are we turning this into an intervention, Hayden? You got to get your act together.
Hey, Jimmy, I actually want you to come around and sit down. Me and Jimmy had a meeting off air. No, we've talked about this, but we all struggle with like knowing. This is the eternal struggle of every human being out there, that whether they're in a good place, bad place, moving forward, moving backwards, staying in one spot, we struggle with like the balance of priorities and the balance of like how much time do we put into each activity, or how much time do we put into ourselves, our own well-being. You know, when you get older, you think back to, and this is something like I've really been thinking about a lot lately, especially with my daughters and how I feel things are going on this relationship, you know, with Unscripted, and how good I feel about it and how much of a rhythm we're getting into. And I think about this stuff, and most of it's probably driven by the fact that I do have a lot of things going on in my life that I have to be super conscious of it.
Yep.
And so what I've been thinking about lately, I've been talking around it, but what I've been thinking about is you go back, you know, to when you're younger and you're able to prioritize things that are important to you or that you want to do simply out of the situation you're in. When you're a young kid, you don't have a lot of responsibilities, you don't have a lot of things going on. And as you get older and older and older, what bogs a lot of us down or holds a lot of us back and becomes a negative part of our lives is that we get, you know, we get more responsibilities. We have more options, right? We've talked about technology providing options. We've talked about all these different options in our lives to go left or right or straight or back. And what's interesting is finding, you know, lately I've been trying to ask myself, what's the difference between being a good narcissist and what's the difference between being a negative or bad narcissist? The question, what I mean by that is, when is it good for me to focus specifically on what I need, and when is that a positive, and when is it a negative, right? Like, so let's say it's I wake up in the morning and I know that's what's best for me is to go exercise and work out, and that's going to trickle down to the rest of my family. But let's say I go to the afternoon and I have a choice between helping my wife out with stuff, or I just feel like I want to go golf and I choose to go golf. That's me being like, that's, in my opinion, that's not me being a bad husband and being a negative narcissist. But in the morning, that positive narcissism is focus on yourself, focus on what you need. And so I've been thinking a lot about that, and how do I plug in things in my life that people might call narcissism, but are also really, really good for me.
Yeah, I think you're touching on just taking care of yourself too. I mean, we're human beings. We're wired to be selfish creatures. I don't care who you are. Mm-hmm. You have to take time to be selfish and work on yourself. I know that can be a struggle for some people. Don't get me wrong. It's really awesome to be selfless and kind of help others, especially if you've got a family or a partner or, you know, whatever it might be. It's good to help out others in your life. But there are points in time, again, very nuanced or situational, where you need to take a step back and recognize, okay, am I carving out enough time for myself? Or am I giving too much of my energy to so-and-so and it's kind of depleting my energy levels? Again, to each their own. It's very nuanced. And another thing that I wanted to kind of add on to, and I thought you were going to maybe take us down this path, but this is perfect, is, why do you guys want to keep pushing your podcast out there? Or why are you guys filming, whatever content it is that you're putting out into the world? And the way that I look at it, and I'm kind of taking some of this from Dan Fleischman. Sorry if I mispronounced your name. He was on the Impulsive podcast, one of the top podcasts in the world, soon to be on Scripted someday soon. I
think we told him we were booked up.
But anyhow, I really liked what his message was, and it was around the fact that, I could choose to not post anything out there, and there's nothing wrong with that, but at the same time, I see more benefit in posting stuff out there and allowing people to see the good in that, and having people go out there and try to do that themselves. I want Billy and Timmy to go have their own podcast and compete with us. That's going to allow us to elevate our game. Or I want, Susie and Joanne to sit down and start a podcast themselves. Again, point being, people like to kind of copy what they're inspired by or what they see and make it their own. And that's the cool thing. So if there weren't people doing this, again, you want to know kind of how to do things. And you and I don't know what we're doing from time to time, and that's all right. I think
what are you talking about?
We're not going to act like we know everything. We never have said that we know everything. We never will. But the thing that's cool is we're going out there and doing what we think is best for ourselves, and we also think it's going to help people along the way. So I wanted to sprinkle that in as well.
Well, it just sounds like you're talking about intentionality too. Like it's just what's the intention behind it?
Yep.
Right. And if it's a positive, if there's an intention that's not, it's also like gray area. Like what's a good intention? What's a bad intention behind posting stuff or anything like that?
And there's always going to be haters out there too.
Yeah. But
we get so many of them these days.
Dude, it's crazy. I think ultimately though,
by the way, I'm going to be that person that's putting my shoes my feet in the shoes of the listeners. I can keep hearing you chew your gum.
Can you?
Yeah.
Do I have to take it out?
You might have to take it out. And I'm calling you out live, man.
Where should I put it?
Because it's just like...
Just put it behind me.
Just gut it.
I'm gonna
just gut it.
Hey, Jimmy, do you have a piece of paper for me?
Yeah, I got a piece of paper for you.
Dude, hook me up.
But something else that I wanted to just check in on, because you were telling me a little bit about. I want to know more about what's going on with Ava and horseback riding. I know there was a big event the other week.
Just wait to hear this. So...
that's even worse.
Dude, here we go.
The crinkle. Sorry. Jimmy, we're going to need you to edit that out.
We're breaking up. So, Ava and horseback riding. So, last thing I'll say about what you said before, and then I'm going to dive into this because I'm going to get really hyped.
Okay.
I think the message you were getting across comes back to just intentionality. What's your intention behind doing something? And for us, again... I'm going to tie this into my experience last night, then we get into horses, because last night, listeners, whoever was at the Keith Urban concert at Riverbend, shout out, a badass, unbelievable concert, unbelievable venue, but the experience is just super fun. I was telling Hayden, it was my first concert experience that I went to sober. I went to without any alcohol, I had a couple cigars while I was there, but I was like, it's going to be a different experience, right? Last time I went there, I was pretty sloshed. Okay, so you're seeing it from drunk goggles and kind of running all over the place and trying to pick up chicks to go on with your wife. And I've been to concerts there before, but going with my wife now, not having any drinks, got a couple cigars in my pockets, like I'm ready to go. And we were down out on the lawn, and it was just so cool seeing. Keith Urban's a big name. Everybody knows Keith Urban. He sells out arenas. The dude's a multi mega millionaire, mega superstar. Okay, and you forget why he's good. Mm-hmm. But when you go see somebody in concert that's putting on a show, like in action, just watching how he played the guitars, how he worked the audience. He introduced his different band members, and they all had like unbelievable pipes and were just like over the top uber talented.
Pipes,
like singing. They were unbelievable singers, and these different like I mean, like things I've never even heard of. But what I said to her when we left the concert, which was kind of ties into why we post the stuff we do and why we're doing this, is this guy's an entertainer, and entertainers are there to create like an atmosphere where people can get together. You can go on dates, you can go with friends, you can like get together in a group and enjoy and have like, it doesn't matter how your day was going at work this past week, doesn't matter how shitty of news you got before you walked in. When you get there, they're there to entertain you and get you outside of your head for a little bit.
Yeah, it's
right?
an escape from reality. It's an escape,
but it is. Well, it's something to go and enjoy. Get your happy vibe. Have the good feelings. And I thought that was super cool because it just made me look at things from a different perspective. Entertainers are really doing all of us a really big service. And so you tie it back to what we're doing in Unscripted.
You're gassing us up. Are you basically calling us entertainers?
We are entertainers.
Yeah, we're here to
entertain.
F that. Yeah,
we're here to entertain.
You're right.
We're here to give people good vibes and make people feel good, to give them something to listen to engage with, to get out of their own world for 2 seconds and say, hey, other people are feeling the way I'm feeling. Other people are having the struggles I'm having. Other people feel great or bad or this or that. And I was like, man, this guy is actually providing a really valuable, irreplaceable service to the community. Now, that could be like debated and this and that, but it was just really, really
anything can be debated.
Yeah, but it was just like, to me, in my eyes, that is such an important thing that we get out of entertainers like that they're providing us, and we forget that that's their job. Like, he might look like he's having and he probably is. He's having a great time. He's doing what he loves, but he's doing that night in and night out, and he's performing those. The guy's got plenty of money. A lot of why he's doing that is because he knows he's got fans out there that come and see him and listen to his music and feel better and feel happier, and that's huge. So I shout out to Keith Urban. Can't wait to have you on the show. I know it'll be coming up hopefully in the next year or so. We'll get you on here. It's some scheduling issues, but we'll get it worked out after your tour's over. But anyway, that's just something I wanted to get out there. I felt, and of course, like I had the Black and Milds. Did anybody here that's ever smoked the Black and Mild? Like, I've heard they're super cheap and they're super smooth. I'm not saying you should all go smoke cigars or cigarettes, but I'll tell you, if you're going to go to a Keith Urban concert, get yourself a Black and Mild wine wood tip, and you can't go wrong.
Do you think cigars are healthier than cigarettes?
They're not. No, they got apparently like one cigar is like the equivalent of like 8 or 9 cigarettes.
Seriously, I had no idea. I was just throwing that
they're
out
way
there.
worse for you.
When I smoked a couple of cigars back in the day, like, yeah, I was never a big fan of cigars, and yeah, I had tried a cigarette or two.
Dude,
this
I used
was
to
10 plus years ago.
Dude, you used to get you 4 or 5 beers deep. There was nothing better than a cigarette.
Oh yeah, yeah. We're gonna change topics quickly. We're pivoting.
So
yeah, tell me more about Ava.
Now that I got that out of my system,
I know you wanted to share that.
I've got some really good news. So I'll fill everybody up in on the update for the horse stuff. So Gracie, Ava's horse, is about 20 years old.
Gracie, Ava's horse, died last week.
Oh my gosh, stop.
Cole sat on.
I would be so devastated because that was my horse.
I got to sprinkle our humor in a little bit more.
We would have had to cancel. We'd have had to cancel, dude. We'd had to do an RIP.
Can we have 3 seconds of silence for Cole's horse, Ava's horse? I'm kidding. All right, go ahead.
Rest in peace. No, I'm just kidding. So about 2 weeks ago, we had we're going into our first horse show. Ava's first dressage show, just a beginner show.
What's it called?
It's called dressage.
How do you say that?
Dressage.
Dressage with a D?
It's dressage. It's DRESSAGE.
Okay, it sounds
dressage.
like
It's like
whatever.
Super cool equestrian stuff, and we're gonna have her trainer Jody on here. Jody, shout out, because she's going to the Olympics. Okay, so she's unbelievable.
Very impressive.
So
wow.
she's doing it her whole life. But anyway, so about 2 weeks ago, we're getting ready for the show, and we're getting all the stuff ordered, and we're getting all prepared, and we're doing like these tests and stuff. And of course, you know me, I'm like, my daughter's not going to go there unprepared. Like, she's going to go there. Like, we have this routine we've got to memorize. So we're going like every night. Like, I'm meeting her there after work. We're going and practicing it. Well, Grace is older, and she's had a little bit, it's called lameness. So lameness is, think of it like you sprained an ankle and it's really sore. That's like that for a horse. They've got, or arthritis would be a better comparison. They've got arthritis, an arthritic joint. So she's limping. And so Jody goes, well, if she's limping too bad during the show,
we'll have to take her out back.
No, she said they won't let her show.
Yeah.
They'll tell her to stop.
Right.
So of course my thoughts going like Ava's gonna be out here like all dressed up, the cutest thing ever, like all outfit, and she get out there and the judges are gonna say, sorry, your horse, like, and Ava, I'm glad she doesn't listen to this. She thinks her horse is the most athletic, the most in shape, the fastest, the best jumper. Like, she thinks her horse could literally go out and, like, you know.
She's a kid. Yeah. She has every right to think
it's
that
so
way.
precious because it's like she thinks that much of her horse,
right.
Which her horse is phenomenal. She's just older. Yeah. So for her to have somebody tell her, my alarms, like, your horse is like lame and you can't, like, you've got to stop on the show. Like, I'm like, that would devastate her. Like, so we're doing everything we can to get this horse ready. We're doing like this lotion you rub on their legs. We're doing like icy hot kind of arthritic cream on her legs. We've got these tablets we're giving her. They're like anti-inflammatory pills. And she goes to the show, and Ava gets first place in one of her events.
Wow.
And fifth place in another one, which in the fifth place, I'm not just saying this with his dad, she was within 5% of first place. So you get like a percentage of how much you did right on this test. She got like a 65%, and first place got like a 71%.
Oh, okay.
So it was a very small gap. And she was the youngest there, but
so they give it like points for like things they do with the horse? Is that how that works?
Yeah. So like they do these different things, and they have different things they grade them on, and they add it all up and give it a percentage.
Yeah.
So she did just amazing. The whole weekend was over the top fun. And even better news following that. So like, okay, we got through it. Gracie, but she still got a limp. She still got issues. So I called the vet, and I said, after talking a lot, doing a lot of research, right? Do your research. Do a lot of research, talk to people, and was told, hey, I said, what can we do to make this horse sound? Which sound meaning get rid of her lameness or soreness so she can move more smoothly. So she feels better. She'll ride better. Everybody's happy. He's like, well, here's what I'd recommend, and I can get out there Tuesday. So he was out this past Tuesday. Met me out there Tuesday afternoon. Did a couple injections, took some blood work, did some stuff. We went out for horseback. So she had to take 3 days of rest after this. We went out today. This horse was like she was 10 years old again. She was moving normally, smooth as you can get. I'm telling you, like, such a blessing. So overall, the horse update for everybody listening and for you, Hayden, is that Ava's horse is looking really good. We got the medical help she need after doing a lot of research and talking to a lot of experts. And we're on to bigger and better things.
Heck yeah. Congrats to Ava. I know she doesn't listen to this, but someday maybe.
Yep. Shout out, Ava.
So how old is the horse then?
20.
What is the average lifespan of a horse?
Just depends on the type of horse. Yeah, so it depends on and don't quote me on this stuff because I know a little bit and I'm still learning, but
you know a hell of a lot more than I do.
Yeah, so it's like I think equated to like dogs, right? Like every dog breed is gonna have a different lifespan, right?
Sure.
It's like horses are like that too. So you've got.
I mean, could a horse live to 50? Like, I know nothing about it.
I don't think they're that old.
Okay.
But you can get to like 35, 36 years old.
Because when you mentioned it was like the horse was 10 years old, I'm like, oh wow, that seems pretty old. And I guess my mind goes to like the Kentucky Derby. Like those horses are only like a couple of years old, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, those horses are like the Kentucky Derby, you have to be a 4-year-old to run.
Okay.
But 2-year-old is like when they start racing them, like that's when you can kind of put a saddle on their back.
Gotcha.
But those horses are those horses are super young. So
right, and different type of event and stuff.
Different types of like needs, but I typically like 20 year Gracie's like 20 or 21, and she can live till she's 30 or 35.
Okay.
But she's an older horse, to be ridden and moved around and stuff. She's still on the upper echelon of an older animal, so she just needs more help.
The other thing that I wanted to ask you about, and we were exchanging some messages the other weekend when you were giving me updates on the event. Do you think this is the most expensive sport? It's got to be up there.
Sure feels like it.
Yeah.
It sure feels
and
like it.
What do you officially call this sport, by the way?
It's like equestrian war. I would just call it like equestrian.
Equestrian.
Yeah, just equestrian. I would say
It's got to be up there, right?
Yeah.
Maybe people should let us know in the comments what the most expensive sport is. And also, it's all relative.
It is, but I would say like
I mean, if you have to go fund the horse, that sounds like it's going to be thousands or tens of thousands of dollars.
Just like the maintenance for a horse alone.
Yeah.
Then the like for Gracie, like the vet bills, like having the vet come out, like that shit ain't cheap. Like,
right.
It's worth it. Like seeing her today, like worth every single penny. Like this horse was like, it was like she was brand new almost. But yeah, I mean, I would say it's definitely not for people that are shy about spending money.
Is there any sport that you would be hesitant to
let Ava do?
Yes.
No.
Or pay for? I was hoping you would say yes so we could get into some hot takes.
I mean, not really. Like, do I want my daughter to go be a football player? Like, no.
Yeah.
But I mean, that football.
Let's take the conversation there. Actually, though. Speaking of football, because you were a football player, I played 1 year in grade school, which means jack shit. I do not like getting hit. Do you think football will be the sport it was or what it is today, 20 years from now? I'll answer my own question. I'd say no. I don't think football is going to be. It will probably be around. I think there's going to be advanced technology, so maybe safer helmets, pads. But I still think there's a lot to be said about what's going on up here, and you're slowly starting to see that. Not to push some type of agenda, but like I would be very concerned if I had a kid that wanted to get into a heavily contact sport such as football, and you're always hitting your head.
Well, I think the question is, so I would ask like what aspects. I do think football will always be like football as a generalization, and I'm saying that with air quotes. Yeah, sure. But I think football will look like it does now in 20 years? No.
Because the answer to that question, or 20 years, I can't spit it out. Rewind back to the early 2000s, someone asked that question. 20 years from now, do you think football would be the same? They probably say no, and it isn't, right?
Right. Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting what it looks like. I mean, I can't ever see it going away, but the awareness is what's really driven the change, and also the ability to study, brain injuries. Like that's why it's been changing,
right?
So I would say I think it's going to change. A sport that I don't see changing. Let's flip the script on you. I think football will change. I think it'll still be around. I don't know if it's going to be the same overall. I don't think it will be, but I don't know. I couldn't predict how it would change, because how are you going to eliminate those collisions? I mean, it's better. It's better helmet technology. It's probably better.
That's what I'm saying.
Better stuff. But I don't.
But a person with just logical thinking, the amount of times your head is constantly
crazy.
Hit. Dude, these people gotta be having issues, whether it's 5 years, a year, 20 years, 25 years. You get the point. There's got to be some type of implication on your brain.
It's like the most. I mean, horseback riding is dangerous, but I mean, I won't even compare the two.
No, nor should you.
I mean, but I'm saying you're riding a 1,000-pound animal, and yes, you could fall off. Sure. Yes, you get kicked.
Sure.
But I'm like, did you play football? You're just running into people at full speed.
Well, the analogy that a lot of people say is it's like you're constantly getting into a car accident.
Over and over and over again.
Right.
That's wild.
Terrible.
Yeah. It's not good for you. It's not good for you.
I'm gonna gas you up. I mean, you were a stud back in high school, and I mean, you took a beating, and that's part of the reason why your career ended, right? And that's why a lot of people's career ends, because just the wear and tear on your body.
Dude, the amount of times I came up from hits barely knowing my name.
Dude, that's messed up, man.
Yeah, there was one game where I came out with a concussion, and I didn't remember. I remember starting the game, don't remember getting on the bus, I don't remember getting home.
Yikes.
I was out for a couple weeks.
That's bad.
And I remember that if my high school coaches are listening to this, you guys were real assholes about that. I think coaches in general, they were totally, dude, it was like,
Don't open up a can of worms, man.
I hope they hear me. That's not a can of worms. I think there's a lot of things that happen in high school sports that aren't translated to actually like taking care of the players. That's a totally different topic.
I mean, look, real quick though, high school for us was
10 years ago.
right. And a lot has changed in those 10 years.
Yeah.
I mean, we're still relatively young, but yeah, every year there's new
regulations
Right.
and law. I mean,
so
even
I guess I'm like trying to speak up for your coaches, which I don't know why, but like I guess who knows what the rules
you need
and
to say
regulations
you don't need water. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's silly.
I mean, hindsight's 2020. I don't hold it against him, but
Is he breathing? Yeah, send him back out there.
yeah, dude, you don't need water. It's like it's 109 degrees on the turf. Like
Yeah,
I
that's bad.
definitely need water. But no, I think that'll change. I think football is the most dangerous sport, and now people could say all sorts of things. But I think if you just look at like the physicality of a sport like that, you really can't compare it to any other sport.
Right. Well,
I don't think
you could
basketball-
compare it to, in the sense of how gruesome the sport can be. Maybe that's not the right word, like MMA or UFC. Like
Well, yeah.
that's just that's crazy. I've actually started to gain a little bit of interest in some of that, but the thing is, like that's modern day like gladiators that are just going in there and like that you could literally kill another person, and I think you wouldn't get in
nuts.
any trouble if you accidentally killed someone because of a punch or a
Dude,
kick.
you bring up a good point. I wasn't even thinking about MMA. Those dudes are nuts.
Yeah, you're going in there just literally trying to kill
Dude,
the
these
other
guys
person.
train all
pretty
year
much.
for like a 1 or 2 fights,
Right.
and they get in there and they literally like, I mean,
So here's a hypothetical.
Yeah.
Would you rather have a pretty peaceful life, not make a ton of money, and these are very vague statements, or would you rather be the number one UFC or MMA fighter making $100 million within 10 years, but in year 11 you don't remember your name, you start to have like Parkinson's? Like, I'm kind of framing this up to the point where you're going to side with, well, I don't want
yeah, you're
this.
kind of giving me the answer.
Yeah.
So basically, you're saying, would I rather put my body at risk like that to make a lot of money, or
Right.
be living?
Yeah. Would you rather be healthy, or would you rather have all the money in the world and maybe not be so healthy? People would say, well, if I had all the money in the world.
I'm going to reframe that question. Would you rather take the risk? I'm going to ask the question myself. Would I rather take the risk of doing that, knowing that the outcome could be I have a lot of money, but my health deteriorates faster, or I work, I make a median amount of money, work my entire life, maybe at a job I don't love, but it pays the bills.
Right.
My answer would be probably C, none of the above. I'd rather do what I want to do.
Sure.
But that's the, my way would be, I'm going to take option 3 and go my own way. But, that's it's a tough question. I think, I don't know how you'd answer that, because I think the biggest thing would be like, okay, if I've got enough money, can I then go put this beating on my body and then pay the money to fix myself later?
Right. The question is, but at what cost, right?
Right. Like, is that, but like, then it comes like, okay, so my answer would be like, okay, if I knew that I could have enough money to make sure I could rehabilitate myself.
Well, then it'd be a no-brainer, right?
Yeah.
You would
But
take
the
the
thing
money.
is like, how do I know that?
It's a hypothetical.
Right. And like, then it would all be a guessing game. Like maybe, but, I don't know. I did Muay Thai for 6 months in college. I don't know if I ever told you that. I did Muay Thai at,
What is that? Like a combination of
It's-
karate and
it's like standing kickboxing, but it's kickboxing with, it's hard to explain. I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah.
I did it at JGMMA over in Union Township,
Oh, okay.
off of 75. I did it with Circo
Nice.
on Cloud 9. But that was really cool. I enjoyed the workout. I enjoyed it, but there wasn't that part of me that was like, I really wanted. Like I remember I sparred with the guy that was on. He was on the, what was that, the Ultimate Fighting. He owns the gym. George Gurgel. George Gurgel is his name. Look him up. He's small. He's like 5'4", 5'5". Dude's built like a freaking rock.
Yeah.
And I remember the first time we got in we got in like the first class, and we're all standing in the line. He's like, "You guys are all pieces of shit, just so you know. And I'm gonna try to make fighters out of you, but I'm sure you're all still gonna suck at the end." And we're just like, "Okay, great." And I remember like we'd start off with like 12 to 15 minutes of jump rope just to warm up. And then the first like 4 classes I went to, because you go every night, you paid a membership per month, and you go as much as you want. And literally, I remember, this is the worst part about it, I remember, is the shit. So you do shin blocks. So literally, you just stand there and kick each other and have to do shin blocks. And you had these shin guards that you could buy.
But they're paper thin.
Yeah, and he would make you take them off. So he's like, you're not going to be able to wear them in a fight.
Yeah.
So he'd make you take them off, and literally you just do shin box. So one of you kicked the other.
Did anyone ever snap their shin?
No, dude. It was so brutal. You do that for like 15 minutes, literally, like till you could barely stand.
Yeah.
And then you'd have you shadow box. So shadow boxing, which is, you're punching, throwing punches, dipping, sliding foot movement, but you're not boxing with anybody.
Right.
And then he'd team you up. And I remember, dude, this one time. I'll tell you a story. So this is one time, like, we were doing this. It's like, I'm probably 2 months into this. We're like getting partnered up, and everybody partners up with somebody, and I get partnered up with this girl. And this is where I learned she was in the class. And I'm like, all right, I've
got nothing wrong with a girl wanting to do it, but like partnering up seems.
This is where my misogynistic, male men are stronger and better than women. I didn't always say that, but like that physicality, like I don't want to hit a girl.
Yeah.
She started beating the shit out of me because I'm like, I don't want to hit her, right?
I was about to say, part of it was probably because you didn't want to.
But she was unloading on me, dude.
Right. And
like,
she was hurting you,
dude,
probably.
I'm like, yeah.
And you're like, but I don't want to strike back.
And I started unloading on her, and she took it. Yeah, dude. She was literally...
Dude, I would have said, like, I need a different partner. I'm not doing this.
She I wasn't going to be that guy. She was in the class. We had helmets on.
What do you mean you weren't going to be that guy? You literally were beating a...
Dude, she was
another... I'm just going to stop right there.
She was kicking my ass.
We're going to get a lot of chirps about this episode with this.
There's nothing wrong with it. It was a class setting. We were sparring. And again, I was like, and I even looked to George. I'm like, we first got some part up, and I'm like, I don't.
Dude, I see lawsuit written all over.
You know what he says to me? He goes, I remember him saying this. He's like, she's gonna kick the shit out of you. And I was like, oh, okay, dude. Like, whatever. Like, can I please have somebody else?
Dude, maybe that was a power trip by this George guy. Like, because he kind of knew that, you probably weren't going to do anything too bad in response, and he wanted to just see you.
Everybody's partnered up. She got partnered up with somebody else later, and I watched her kick the shit out of this dude too. Like, it was, dude. I mean, look at these. There's women MMA fighters I'd never want to get in the ring with. They beat the living.
Oh yeah, without a doubt. But still,
it was, dude. I'll just say this: like, what were we actually beating the shit out of each other? No, we weren't allowed to hit in the face, but we were kicking.
You're making contact with one another.
Yeah, dude. I don't feel one bit of regret for doing that. Like, we didn't walk away with bruises, but I'll tell you right now, she was a way better fighter than I was. Like, he knew what he was doing when we got partnered up.
Her name was Ronda Rousey.
Dude, I'm telling you, I thought so. I'm like, what am I in for? It's like, dude, talk about checking your ego at the door.
How crazy would that have been if it was Ronda Rousey?
Dude, I would not want to fight her. Like, I think I'm awesome. I think I'm tough.
No, I hear you.
But sure. Well, it's all about technique too. Like, you could think you're the best fighter in the world, but you get in with like somebody that's got the right technique. And like, dude, throwing haymakers ain't gonna do it.
But that's a really fascinating point. I've dealt with this too. Like, you have to have that mindset though, where you think you are the best, and it goes back to like that narcissism, and recognizing though at the same time though, maybe you aren't the best, but like the moment you start to think that you're not the best, that's where there's a crack in the armor.
Yeah.
And again, it's very situational, but like,
yeah,
if
I know what you're saying. I remember
I think I've thrown this out there before. There are so many NBA players that go to NBA that get interviewed and thinking that, oh, I'm the best player in the world. It's like, do you really think they, in their mind, think they're the best player in the world? But you and I sitting on the couch know they're not the best player in the world.
Right.
But everyone has that mentality.
It's a mentality. Like, yeah. I can tell you that it's funny because like you say that, and when I was doing it, I did think that I was going to be like, because I was really into it for a while. Because it was like, I was what I was doing. I was going like 4 or 5 nights a week. And I did think at one point, like and I still believe it. I still believe I could have gone like professional MMA. but it's because it's all about the amount of work you put in. Like you could, I thought I was really good. I knew I could get better. But that's one of those things too. Well, I'll say like until you put a lot of work in to get there, you got to know you're not the best. Like these NBA players, they've gotten to the NBA, they've worked that hard. When you start something out, you're just not going to be the best, no matter what. But you can work to getting the best. Like that mindset. Like you go into something like I'm there's no way I'm the best right now. But if I work hard enough and I want to put that dedication in, then I know I can be the best. That's the mindset I'm talking about.
Totally. Now, to wrap this up,
do I think I'm the best podcaster? Yes.
I love it.
Absolutely.
I love it. There is a point when you're younger, I'd say, where there are much larger gaps of talent when talking about sports. And the thing is, there are some people that just don't recognize that you still have to put in all the hard work, even if you have the talent today, because 2 or 3 years from now, the person that might not be quote unquote as talented is going to surpass you. And that's the thing that's really tough to teach kids.
Oh yeah.
It's so tough.
Yeah. Cause they look at it, they're like, well, I just either I got it or I don't. And it's not a perception thing. It's a perspective thing. And being wise. It's that I can be the best.
Right.
Like I can beat them, not because I'm better than them right now, but that I'll work harder than them, and I know I can work harder than that person. Like that person might be better than me right now, but give me some time.
You got to have that humble confidence. Is what I like to say.
I look at everything. I don't know if you noticed this about me. I look at everything, and Amanda always gives me a hard time because I'll be like, I could do that professionally. She's like, no, she's like, you always say that. I'm like, but if I wanted to, like, I couldn't right now.
That goes back to your mentality. I love it.
If I wanted to,
yeah,
I could do it.
Yeah.
I'll sit here today and say, if I wanted to be an MLB player, I could have become one.
Do you think you can do the Murph in under 50?
If I wanted to.
I got him, folks. Cole has tried. He's tried a few times, and he's done a great job. Don't get me wrong.
We're gonna get back into it. Our schedules haven't matched up the past few Fridays, but I've been putting in the work
real quick. And I think some folks know the last attempt Cole just was to not.
Dude, that wasn't even like that was an outlier. I felt like I was gonna.
I'm just calling you after your shit.
Dude, I thought I was gonna die.
Yeah, I was
like the point where I'm like,
you just need to make sure that you are putting enough sodium into your system before and afterwards as well.
Well, I think I had a little bit of a bug too. That was a little weird.
Yeah. Point being, you can't just say I can go out and do that.
No, but I'm saying,
no. I know I'm being an ass.
I hate you for that.
We have to have a little fun.
Check back in. I don't care if I'm going on a trip tomorrow.
I'd kick your ass easily. Maybe 6 months from now, it could be a different story.
Yeah, now he's just trying to get under my skin.
All right, folks. I think we call it an episode for tonight. Again, these are some of my favorite ones where it's just us having conversations. I mean, each and every one is us having conversations, but sometimes we have another person.
I like to see where the wind takes us sometimes.
Mm-hmm. Folks, let us know in the comments what you want us to talk more about or things that we haven't talked about. We did send out a survey earlier last week, got a little bit of feedback. And we continue to want to learn more so we can continue improving. And stay tuned. We do have, I think, right now we've got 3 or 4 guests lined up for the next month and a half. They're going to be super, super cool stories. So just stay tuned, and we got a lot of great stuff coming. God bless y'all. Have a great week. Bye.